Good evening, I'm Michael Stack, and we are on the set with Vox Violins. Mark, Beth, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's nice
Thank
to be
you,
here,
Michael.
Mike.
Yeah.
What brings you back to Nova Scotia?
We're house sitting, visiting family, and looking after Mark's brother's house.
Yeah. White Lake, we're staying there, and we're also checking in quite regularly at Blind Bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So musical plans while you're in Nova Scotia. What are you guys up to while you're here in this end of the country?
We were only going to be rehearsing some swing stuff that we're playing when we get back. It's like Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli stuff. So we brought all our charts because it's a new thing for us. But talking with Steve Kiley from Shad Bay, he suggested that we go down to the Legion and possibly work up a gig down there. So we did, and they put it before the board, and they accepted us. So we got a couple of good friends of ours, Jeff Arsenal and Brian Bourne, to be in our band, which is neat because it's kind of a reunion from the 80s with him.
Yeah.
With them both, yeah.
Yeah, we knew and played with them back in the 80s.
Yeah.
When we lived here when was that? We moved in 83, 84.
Yeah.
We were here to 88,
Right.
roughly that long.
Tell me a little bit about what you guys did together in the 80s.
Oh,
Well, Mark, you had he was an engineer at City Studios, and it was a brand new studio.
Yeah.
So you were the house engineer, producer dude.
that's right. Ed Bonchasson, a lawyer from downtown, really wanted to build a studio for John McMullen, who was a great songwriter. I don't know where he is these days. And so he built a studio with the intention of giving John a space.
In the Keith's Brewery, right?
In the Keith Brewery, yeah. So he built the studio, and I ended up happening to check it out when they were just opening, and they kind of needed someone that could function with bands right away, because first band in was quite technical, and so he said, "Why don't you come in for the first session?" And not an hour into the session, I kind of took over the chair for the engineer, and the engineer was totally happy to do the patching for me, and all of a sudden I had a job.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. Yeah.
And you produced Out of the Fog record.
That's right.
Back then with Sarah McLachlan and Jellyfish Babies.
Yeah, and dog food.
Dog food. Yeah, there was
A whole
some
bunch
great
of
names.
really neat bands.
But
Yeah.
Sarah's band was called, what would they? Oh, October Game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, before Network Records had already signed her, but weren't ready to take her into Vancouver yet, so she carried on with October Game until they
she
took her
flew
out
away.
west. Yeah.
So how's it feel to be back with old friends?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Really great, yeah.
It feels like we saw Joanne Muron, who's she works on the Coast Guard, and I hadn't seen her in over 30 years. So we went to see Joe Murphy at the Bearleys, and boy, we just sat right together and right back in the saddle together, telling old stories, and it was great.
Yeah, and we got together, well, on the phone so far with Phil Walling, but we will probably be going over there and doing some electronic music with him. Every time we go there, he sends us home with a CD of what we did. It's always off the cuff and always different and strange.
Yeah. Last was with a theremin, and it was wild.
Yeah.
A theremin.
A theremin.
Tell me about the theremin.
Oh, well, it looks like you're manipulating volume and tone and pitch with your hands. It's all very esoteric.
I feel like we all know that one from the Star Trek theme.
That's right. Yeah.
But like what were you using the theremin for?
Well, he assigned me on there. I didn't have an electric guitar with me, so I played it most of the time, whereas Phil was on his keyboard, and there was another friend of his on guitar. And Beth,
we had bass. I had my fiddle.
You had your fiddle.
Yeah. But we were doing blues mostly.
Yeah, we were doing okay, the theremin doesn't usually get played in this context, but I'm going to give her a shot. So, and that got recorded. and it's odd to listen to. You know,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
interesting. I would love to have that at my house because I know I could pitch that thing, but if you watch someone that can really play it, they can play amazingly technical melodies on this thing. It's amazing how because one hand is doing the volume, and the other hand is kind of making these hand gestures like this, and it's
Changing pitches.
changing
Like,
pitches.
it's
and,
weird. Yeah.
It's an amazing instrument.
Yeah.
Like there's a real art to that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I mean,
It's almost more difficult than the violin. It probably is.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm going to back up a little bit since we're talking about old times. And could you guys tell me how Vox Violins came to be? How'd you guys meet? How'd you become Vox Violins?
Well, in London, Ontario, we met at the Home County Folk Festival in 1980. And I was working out with a bluegrass slash bebop band. And we did the Sunday morning gospel hour. And I got off stage and I was hungry for a falafel. I was aimed for that falafel truck. And you walked in my way.
The crowds parted.
Yeah.
We walked towards each other.
And we started talking. And that's basically how we met.
Yeah.
We did have a falafel together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how did things progress musically from there?
Well, I was playing downtown in a folk venue, but also I was in the same venue. There's a rock club, there's a disco, and a folk venue. I was playing the rock and blues venue with a band called It's Not My Job. And we called it that because people would make requests for songs that we didn't do. We'd just say, it's not my job. And on the breaks, they said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break now. All the rest of us would be singing Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, band. So I invited Beth out to, come on, sit in with us. And so she came, and she said, Moon Dance in E minor. It's originally in A minor, if you know the song. And we all went, oh, okay, let's do it. And away we went. And it was wonderful. She sang, we'll be doing that at White's Lake Legion, by the way.
Okay.
We've been doing that together since
then.
Since then. So, but not every night. I mean, it's had 10 years off here and there,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and she came, and it was wonderful. And so we said, well, I got this gig, in a week down at the same place, but the folk end of things. Why don't we get together and try a few songs? So we did. Went over to her place and brought her a piece of pie from my sister-in-law.
Kathy?
Yeah, and we rehearsed some songs, and she said, okay, meet you at the gig. And she came down and said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to be my friend up, Beth Bartley. She's going to come in and play a fiddle on a few songs. And after that, I said, well, we did a few songs. It was wonderful. And I said, do you want to stay on stage? She said, sure. And that's just the way we began. It was so natural.
It was.
Yeah.
It was natural.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the best things are organic.
Yeah.
And it was that exactly. And her ear is so good. I mean, she'd already, learned a lot of classical stuff. She'd been to Europe with a youth symphony. And I had been playing rock and roll for a long time when I met her, and been on the road with Major Hope's Boarding House and a few other bands. So I had my experience in live performance. She had hers, and it just seemed to be easy.
So could you tell me a little bit about those are two different styles?
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about how those two meshed together as you became a duo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arrangements, I guess. I mean, your songs are very easy, very melodic. They're pretty arrangement friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because and good for violin parts, and I also had to learn how to back up Mark if he's trying to solo. So that has evolved over the years. But yeah, the folk music you were a really good songwriter. I hadn't even started writing songs at that time. But he is a good songwriter.
Yeah, and the only thing I would ever request is if I heard a line that I wouldn't mind her playing in the song, this line I'd like to have in there. And so, work that out. And then besides that, there's total freedom, but it's part of the composition when I hear a certain line. That
There's a lot of lines that you had in your head.
Yeah, but I mean, you had so much freedom, though.
For sure. Yeah.
It was just more the composition that I heard, and I would request that from her,
So, like, as part of the process here, is it improvisational?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, he's got a song called Sometime, and we were playing in Kispiox one time, and all of a sudden I said, I think Pachelbel Canon would fit right in here. And so I put it in, And before I would just improvise over those chords, but it just fitted right in perfectly. So it became part of the tune.
So I deviated to the melody of Pachelbel because they're different chords, right? But it's in the same key. And so all of a sudden that became the way that song was always played. It's always got to have Pachelbel's Canon in it. So out of improvisation came that.
And it's appropriate because it's a family song, and families go through weddings and things like that. And we've played the Pachelbel Canon for many weddings. So with the bride.
Yeah.
Or it's more like
depending on the wedding, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's interesting. So then that becomes like part of an arrangement, and did that turn into like a songwriting style, or?
Well, let me see. For example, there's a song called "Do You Remember," and it begins with a really beautiful wash of echo and beautiful.
Spacey.
Notes and space, and just it's a really big bubble of sound, and out of that bubble, you slowly start to hear the chords begin the storyline till it opens for the first line. So it's a nice bed to start the song. So that improvisation would change absolutely every time. It's never note for note the same. There's always a space and a feel that we can develop, right?
Mm-hmm. And,
so the improvisation is still free within an arrangement. You can still be free, but this is how it starts, kind of like this, and then kind of progresses to the lyric.
But it does. We do have a sound,
Yeah.
As a duo, because of that.
Yeah.
All that arrangement,
Yeah.
and violin and guitar too. Well, I played the 5-string, so I can. He's talking about the intro for "Do You Remember?" It's got a low C, so I step on a octaver, so it sounds really low and really sustained. It's cool.
Yeah. And then there's another song, we're not like that, where the solo, it just takes off, right? And then you're allowed to improvise as you like over that.
So it makes no two shows really the same.
Never.
Yeah, that's right,
We don't even do setlets. Well, we try, but we always meander off the set.
Oh yeah, the bandmates would always say, "Can we have a set list, guys?" And so we write a big set list, work on it real hard, and say, we find it hard to preconceive what the audience is going to be and what feels like it's next and all that stuff, So we'd write a set list for the band, and here it is, guys. Give them all copies, and then about the third song in, we're off the list. It would happen every time.
Piss them right off.
Yeah.
But I mean that's a lot of improvisation in there too. So was it very much like it's see how you're feeling that night and see what the room is like?
The room is
both.
like,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's about the room really. It is. I can't predict what the room's going to be like tonight. We used to drive to gigs going, oh yeah, we could do this tonight, we could do that one. How about we try that one too? We'd get there, we'd look at the maybe we should start with the Superman song instead,
When it was really difficult, the audience was really difficult. We had this little act It was Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
And
Programmed into the keyboard.
Into the keyboard, just press play, and he was, of course, we're doing that. The Phantom of the Opera is here inside my mind. You know that one? Da 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 da. Ba. And Mark had the cape. He had the Groucho nose and glasses with the mustache, and these green fingernails. You know, big long claws. You were great.
Yeah. So she would sing the first verse, and my back would be to the audience, you know, with the cape and stuff.
Yeah.
And she would sing the first verse, and then you'd hear, and then I had these long fingernails too, kitty fingernails, and then and I've got these nails coming out of the cape, and this big nose, and there's washers on my glasses and stuff. and people are, you know, I mean, they weren't laughing yet, so they were on our side.
After that, that's you definitely have them grabbed after that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a signal to the band as well too. That I guess okay, we've read the room.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
You know, and that was just as a duo, and so I mean, the audience would just say, okay, well, they can play anything they want.
Now, I liked when we were chatting before the show. I was talking about the other members of the band here,
right?
Including this guitar and that
Yes.
guitar case.
Yeah.
And there's a song wrapped around it. And can we talk about that for a minute?
Oh yeah, this old foolhardy thing. Yeah. I was young when I started to play this foolhardy thing. I bought it in '74, and many years later, like, you know, that's a long time to be playing on the instrument. It felt like, you know, as you're driving down the road, it never talks back or never says anything. It just, this old foolhardy thing makes its way out to the gig again tonight, you know. And so that's the concept of the song, because it really has its own voice, and it's the two of us that make it happen, right? So I just... I would love to do that song with the guys this month, but probably won't get around to much original. It's going to be mostly a lot of swing and and fun stuff. But someday that song we should.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Rock it up.
We don't do a set list, you know.
Right? So it could turn up.
It could turn
yeah,
up.
that's right. Yeah.
And the band's going to have to go with it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just give me a shuffle.
How has the music scene changed since you guys have been on the road?
Ooh, it's changed a lot. I mean, I think we used to have really good listening audiences, and it's really chatty now. It's all about getting together with your friends and having your chicken wings and your pizza and dancing to the band, you know, which is great.
Yeah.
It's just different. There were more folk clubs, I guess, back in the 80s. And,
there's, you know, there are venues. We did one in Font Hill about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely, you know, the guy that puts them on is a really great chef, and so in the room across the alley is where they brew their beer, but there's enough room to have 30 people there. So in comes Vox Violins to do a set, but the chef hosts, and he said, okay, the only thing is there's no talking while the music's being played.
Yeah.
You know, here's a venue where you're actually going to be able to hear the music tonight.
Okay.
So they're still
are
out
a
there.
few.
You know,
Yeah.
And
I think there's one in Halifax. Joanne was talking about one about
Right.
it. Can't remember where that was, but
yeah. So we look for those, and with Juliet Dunn, we actually found that when we did our concert around New Year's.
Yeah.
And we had a full house in a restaurant down in Niagara Lake.
That was a listening environment as well.
It
Yeah.
really was. Yeah, they really. I mean, it's just so nice to play in those environments because you have a rapport with the people. They're listening and we're feeling your response. You know, it's a great old feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We came in strolling, so we came in. People didn't know we were going to do this, so we came from the back of the room and kind of serenaded every table to win them over, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, it really. We did that a few times in the West, and people always just loved that because we're being announced up there. Everyone's focused that way, and all of a sudden we're walking in the center aisle and we're playing some music, and it's like, wow, they're here.
Yeah.
It just makes all the difference in the world. It brings the music right to them, and there's no. Hi, Al. How's everybody doing tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that like surprise?
Yeah.
Yeah,
drama?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
would you say it makes them a part of it?
Yeah, for sure. Because we did
yeah.
a Ukrainian piece, and there's a lot of clapping in that one. If you're so inclined, right? But it's pretty high energy thing, and they were just. I thought they were gonna go down and do the old, Ukrainian.
After cabbage rolls.
Yeah.
That's fun. Now, you guys used to busk. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, we were actually, the very first Buskers Festival in Halifax. We were in that.
Okay, and when would that have been?
That was 88.
Yeah, we had had we moved back and then we came back for it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was when the Looney first came out.
That's right. The
Okay.
Looney
Yes.
was being promoted big
Yes.
time to give to us. And Bob Snyder, actually, that's when he started to sing out of Bear River. He came out of Bear River and that's where I first heard Bob Snyder. That's before he went downtown Toronto and became very successful.
Yeah.
And
But when we busked in Toronto when we first were married because we couldn't get the gigs. So we went across from Eaton Centre to the Tip Top Taylor.
Okay.
Because they had nice reflections on the I guess it was glass, hey Mark?
Yeah,
it had good acoustics in there.
glass alcove, yeah.
So we paid our rent that way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long did you guys do that?
Jeez.
Well, we both got gigs. I got a gig at the Rex Hotel before it became a jazz club. And actually, we were the first act ever in the Rex Hotel.
Yeah.
Toronto, which is where
It's
to
a
go
big
for
jazz
now.
place now.
So I was a tap man at the Rex for old timers who lived upstairs. It was a really cool old spot. And Beth worked down the street at a restaurant called
George's. We'll call it George's.
Yeah.
Greek restaurant.
Yeah. So that kind of helped pay the rent after a while. And I also got into a band called Neon Rose, which was a husband and wife act, which was very, 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 very commercial. And I didn't stay with that one too long.
Then went back to Tip Top Taylor and started busking again.
Yeah. And then we just ran away out east.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
And I lived with my brother Frank and Cassie.
Now just talking about that band, did the commercial aspect not appeal?
Oh, it was more the people.
Okay.
The boss and his wife.
Gotcha.
It was a very, very weird situation, but I had to. We do things we have to.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He would drop me off north of the 401 on Yonge Street with my 100-watt 212 HH amplifier, my Les Paul, my bag for clothes. I'd say, okay, see you later, next gig. I live like downtown Toronto. So it's like, I gotta lug the stuff into a bus, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Very much.
Yeah, sometimes you just jibe.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and at my last paycheck, I had to go on how many exchanges on the bus I had to go to their house to get my money. It was kind of one of those situations. Everything about it was just wrong.
Yeah. So I'm spending more time traveling than I am playing music.
Yeah. And
really.
there ain't much music in the band either.
But I'm not actually leaving Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm not on the road.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Speaking of being on the road, do you have like a favorite memory from the road? Something that really stands
Oh,
out.
geez. Yeah, we were on the road for, 8 months in our van, Goddess Vendura. She has a song and a name.
Okay.
We bought the van from Frank Clifford, Mark's brother, and Mark drove it all the way out to St. Catharines, and then we had a tour manager at the time, and we lived in that van, and it was kind of an ugly van, but
that was a good thing.
It was a good thing because we had it loaded with very expensive equipment, right? But there was a futon.
So it was camouflage.
It was camouflage. Yeah.
Like the back section, you open the doors. There was about a section about that long with a nice big piece of wood there. So, and the windows were blacked out. Oh no, they had drapes on them. That's right. So that's where all the gear was. You know, a lot of processing, guitars, violins, and but if you looked in the van with the sliding door open, you could say, well, that's the back of the van. You don't see it, right?
Yeah.
And Frank had given me a futon too, so that's what we slept on, and that was like on a board. So below were clothes and stuff, and we had cupboards. It was a funky little van, but great for touring.
It was great. We toured at least 2 times out west and back in that thing. Yeah.
From here?
No, from St. Catharines.
Okay.
Yeah. But what musical? What kind of musical memories?
Well, it was pretty neat doing the Woodstock. I'm from Woodstock, Ontario, and we did this Cornstalk, and we're in. I think our show was on at 3:00 in the morning or something like that. And the Northern Lights came up, and we were singing a tune that I wrote up for Emily Carr, and the Northern Lights showed up, right behind the stage. I guess it was magical. We didn't.
Yeah, we couldn't see it, but everyone was going.
Ooh, that was a nice moment.
Yeah. We backed up Allen Ginsberg. That was an interesting gig as well.
Yeah, really.
Tell me a little about that.
Jeez, that was wild.
Well, I used to do sound at Club Flamingo when they were on Goddigan Street. And Sarah McLaughlin took tickets at the door. And I got her to do sound checks for people like John Cale and stuff like that. Sarah, could you try out the piano for me? So she'd get down there and sing all Kate Bush songs, perfectly, right? So Allen Ginsberg, got to rehearse with him the night before. And then when he went on stage,
Wow.
It was this energy that came off of him. The first set, he was like as wet as he had a shower by the end of the set. Okay. He was just so expressive. Second set, he was cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
But the first set, like we all have nerves, right? But the second set, he was just all chilled. I remember looking at his charts there on the stand, and one only had about 4 stanzas, but he went on for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was that gave him free verse, right? That one verse could lead him on to other stuff, like the beat poet.
Yeah, did you improvise and see where he where he went?
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah,
it really was.
And CBC was there. I mean, we did our sound check, and CBC came when we went off for dinner. And we came back, and there were 2 mics strapped to all our microphones, right? Which is fine. But I wanted a copy of that.
It was CBC Newfoundland, was it?
Newfoundland, yeah. CBC Newfoundland. So it's probably still in the archives, but I don't know how to access that. But I did ask for it. What they did give me was the interview in the green room with him. I have that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What year was this?
80. He was here with the Buddhist community,
right? Buddhist, yeah.
Because he was a Buddhist. There was property in Cape Breton where.
I know it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they go there. So when he would come here to do things, he would go up there for the visit too. So work a bit and be up there. What year? 80. Well, when was I? I was there at the same time as City Studios. So
86.
84,
it was
86.
86, 86.
Right around 86, something like that. Yeah, don't have the year in my head.
Yeah.
Halifax was a neat blur. It really was.
Yeah.
We started in Halifax County on the old 3-3, and we ended up moving downtown, and we had a Vox Violins band. I was in Willie Hop blues band. Beth worked at the Folklore Center, Halifax Folklore Center, teaching violin. And he worked with Anna Ruth Avery.
Oh yeah, we bussed on the wharf there. She would play piano and fiddle, and we did a lot of swing music. Yeah. But I want to say too, one of my favorite moments too was singing with Sarah at Pub of Flamingo. She was my backup singer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she sang with us. That was for opening for John Cale, I think it was. Yeah, that was.
Tell me a little more about that.
Well, geez, she was. I guess I'd met. Well, Mark knew her, and then I met her.
Well, because I worked with her.
Yes.
The band doing the record at City Studios.
And she was with James Parker, who was her bass player for October Game, and then you were recording Out of the Fog, and she heard Celebrate Life, one of my tunes, and she really liked it, and I asked her if she would sing harmony, on a few songs with me, and she said sure. So there. Yeah. That was all right.
Yeah. Are you still in touch, or?
Not really. When she was first on the road, we'd go. I think we went to one of her shows in Toronto, and one in St. Catharines, or two in St. Catharines, and we met up and talked and stuff. But things
snowball.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was all before Lilith Fair and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She was busy working on the original tunes and somewhere with that.
Yeah, once we get busy on our thing.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I totally understand. It's just, it's like some of the guys that we are going to be playing with at White Lake, Jeff, I've been watching Jeff's career through Facebook. He's done so well, Matt Anderson and all the other people he backs up, Bill Stevenson, all kinds of people. Brian Bourne, he's a really great player too. So, but these are all people from our past, right? And it's kind of neat to kind of come together again in a musical way, not just sit down and say how's it going. We can actually get up on stage, which is nice to be able to. So I'm sure the same kind of tie would happen with Sarah if we ever ran into her again. Just pick up where you left off, kind of thing.
So that's kind of exciting and interesting to me, because you'd have that, like, you're coming back with friends, but in between there, you've all done a lot of evolution.
Yeah, a lot
and
of
you're
evolution.
coming back together that way.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
What, just bringing in these guys to do the thing. Well, basically, I just gave them a call and asked them if he was available on the 3rd. Asked Brian the same thing. They both said yeah. And so then
And they want to.
It was just like it was immediate. Yeah. There was no hesitation. Yeah, I'm free.
Yeah, you're okay with $100? I know it hasn't changed in forever, but it's like, man, it's okay.
No problem. So we haven't even been in front of each other yet, so that won't happen until a week Monday.
Okay.
Rehearsal.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have this time to kind of do a set list. I'm going to take a picture of that and send it to the guys. So here's this is not a set list. This is possible. So we want to make this comfortable for all four of us, and we don't want to kind of have people, nervous about working through changes. I don't know if I know that one. We want to make it easy. And, I used to back up Dutchie Mason, too, and the first time I was doing it, okay, guys, let's learn this stuff. So we learned these great songs, Treble and Me, and all these other songs, Dutchie. And so when I was shaking his hand, how's it going, Dutch? And he said, how long you been in town? Oh, a couple days, and he said, we got some good tunes all ready for you. Are you interested in this song, that song? Oh, no. Being on the road by himself, he's gone back to just kind of doing more a basic set so that there's no mess ups and everyone can get it, But so that's a good way to go. In that's you want the night to go smooth. So same for Brian and Jeff. We don't want to get into big complicated arrangements. We want to just get to the muse right away.
Yeah, and Jeff's got a new CD out, so we'll get him to sing
a
couple of tunes as well. So,
yeah. So,
will you guys leave a little room in there for improvisation, or will you see what happens in rehearsal?
Oh, yeah.
Or what,
It's definitely going to be improvised.
Monday will be the well, actually, I'm going to send those pictures off. I'm sure I'll get some comments back, and they'll probably be favorable in knowing those guys. And then when we get together on Monday, we'll see how free we all can be. It's just going to be like that, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a fun evening with old friends.
Yeah, 6 till 9, 3 hours, user-friendly, good hours, for everybody.
And for everybody that's listening, when is this?
Yeah.
May 3rd at the Legion in Whites Lake.
Whites Lake Legion,
yeah. 6 to 9. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Right on. Same here.
Great. Yeah, we went and looked at the room. We didn't realize it was in the same room they have their bake sales and stuff. We had been to one of them, and so it's a nice room. They got a nice stage and plenty of room for people to come. Yeah,
we can pack the place. I mean, we could put a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
So, any advice for a musician that's starting out?
Well, get together with people. That's really where it was for me. At 10 years old, 1964, I wanted to play, of course, the Beatles, all the stuff like that. But it's nice to play by yourself, but it really...
That's good advice.
It really helps to kind of be with other people and all work together on making that sound like that song, It's just a joy, and it keeps your interest. Right, because like a lot of today, when people are young, there's a lot of things that can distract them away from getting good at your trade. Because okay, I play a little guitar, but my buddies are down there doing this, right? I'm going to go do that. Whereas I was downstairs trying to do bar chords and trying to get the pain to go away. That's right here because you have to hold. And I was just trying to get it so that it didn't hurt anymore. Really had the desire, but I was in bands almost immediately, and I think that it's really important to kind of go there as soon as you can.
Get out and connect.
Connect.
Yes.
And do you think some of that's lost now?
Well, I don't know. I see young bands that are getting together. And I do look at Facebook, and I'll see. Oh, look at that! These guys are all like 14. And they look like they're enjoying what they're doing. They're getting little gigs here. It's still happening.
Yeah.
But it's about there's so many distractions. There's your ballet classes. There's your hockey.
Yeah.
There's your guitar lesson, and then there's and then you get your student come in the next week and he said, I didn't practice with this week because I had a big hockey game. Kind of they give you the expression of the moment kind of thing, and it's
Mark, Beth, thank you very much.
Oh, Mike,
for being here this evening.
Well,
any final thoughts?
Good luck with this adventure. This is fantastic. It's a great little studio you got here. Yeah.
And final thoughts. Never stop. Never stop your whimsical artistic ways. There's a lot of inspiration out there. There's 80-some-odd-year-old rockers that are still doing it, and it inspires me to kind of say, I'm not putting it down. I better not.
Yeah, really.
Spent this much time on it. Just because I play less doesn't mean I don't play anymore. It just means I play less. So
there was Walter Alston. He's 90 now. He's the polka king. He's won 4 Grammys.
St.
Catharines, dude. And he is with Winston James. He's a fiddler, and I know him. Winston, we know him.
Yeah.
And they're at the Tim Hortons for his 90th birthday, playing Westphalia Waltz. There's Walt. 90.
Yeah.
And he's looking really good. Playing one of those big accordions, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And Winston's in his 80s, and he's on the fiddle. He actually still does a plugged-in gig, you know, on a stool. He's got beatbox.
He's awesome.
He plays guitar. He does all old folks homes. He's, you know, I mean, there's lots of that work. We've done a lot of that, too.
Yeah.
And Legions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those guys are all inspiration for me. Young guy like me.
Yeah. He follows his heart.
He
Yes,
does. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's
That's it. Yeah. That's
I think in any artistic endeavor, it's important to follow your heart.
Yes,
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
Where can we find you online?
We kept our domain name, but we don't have a website now. But you can always find Vox Violins on Facebook.
And we don't really have a YouTube channel. It's Mark Clifford, but we have a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah,
but if you Google Vox Violins, stuff comes up.
We'll find you.
Yeah.
You know, it almost, at this point, that almost feels like a moot question. Where can we find you online? And the answer is almost just Google us, because
We'll show up.
Yeah, like I said, Mark Clifford is my YouTube page. But if you Google Vox Violins, you'll find Mark Clifford's page, because I put them up there, but I call them Vox Violins. You know, I should have put it up as a Vox Violins page, but I didn't. But you can find us.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right,
Namaste.
And Beth. And we've been talking with Vox Violins. Thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you.